Hello there, everyone. The Kenobi TV show just ended recently, and I did watch it, unfortunately. But coverage of that is over on the Fandom Collective YouTube channel. And over there, I've also been watching a lot of fan films recently, giving commentary with fellow YouTubers, watching them for fun. And I thought that I'd watch the Kenobi fan film made by Jamie Costa to cleanse the Kenobi show out of my system. Boy, was I disappointed. All right, so I've watched quite a few Star Wars fan films now, up to now. I've watched quite a few of them. They vary in quality big time. A lot of them aren't all that great. Some are pretty good. That's true. Some do really well. And Jamie Costa, I've seen him in some other Star Wars fan films, and he is freaking phenomenal. I love the guy. He's awesome. But this one, man, Kenobi. I'm gonna splice little bits of my review because I did watch this with somebody already, and it's gonna be released later on the Fandom Collective with like our full reaction to watching it. But man, I just felt like making an actual video about it because it was really bad. And I remember a lot of people when the Kenobi fan film came out, everybody was praising it, like praising it a lot, and it is not really all that good. The production quality is amazing. Yeah, the production looks fantastic. They usually do really well at getting good cinematography. The sets look good. The actors in it are great. I love the actors in them, but like the story itself that they choose to tell is just really bad here. Let's start. It's very similar to the Kenobi show in a way. To me, it felt like it would just slot right in with the Kenobi show. Now, it's cool if you like the Kenobi show. It's cool if you like the fan film. I'm just saying this is how I'm feeling with this because this misses so much beats. It's Kenobi in a cave. You could kind of almost assume that maybe Disney saw the fan film and took a lot of elements from it, maybe because there's a lot of similarities that happen in this. And this was released 2 years ago than to when the show was released, so maybe they took some inspiration from it. I don't know, but that's not as big a deal to me because I don't know the story itself that it's copying. I don't think was very good to copy from. His Kenobi in a cave. He's talking to Qui-Gon, which that's totally fine. His conversation with Owen is to me this is kind of annoying how a lot of like, I don't know, everybody wants to see like this conflict between Owen and Obi-Wan, like Ben, like they want to see this conflict between them, like, oh, don't train the boy. Oh, I'm gonna try to train the boy. I don't know if that is how that would play out or how it's supposed to play out leading up to the OT. It just seems like maybe I could see Owen and Ben like almost not talking at all after he's been given the kid, like knowing that that's the plan that they want. I don't know if Ben really cares what Owen thinks in general. He's going to train the boy because that's the last hope as far as he's concerned to the galaxy. So whether Owen likes it or not, he's probably going to train that boy anyway. And that they just probably wouldn't interact that much. And the older that Luke gets, the more like Owen would want to hang on to the kid and not let go of him. So it does make sense why in the OT he's like, hey, don't leave the farm, man. Hey, he probably is a little more strict on him hanging out with his friends and getting into danger and stuff. That seems okay. You don't need to have this conflict in the beginning with like him and Ben. It's not a huge part of this fan film, by the way. I'm just expressing that I saw that in the Kenobi show and in this, and I've seen inklings of that and other fan related stuff, like having Owen and Ben have conflict. It just I don't know why that's always a fixation point here. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, Owen says that there's a Star Destroyer nearby that's coming toward them. They don't know why. They assume the main reason would be because it's Obi-Wan's here or they know Luke's here. They don't know, but maybe Obi-Wan should leave. There's one more transport, so he should go. There's some nice little moment. Obi-Wan's not too depressed like he is in the show. Like he's okay here, I would say. He's not super depressed, but he is contemplative about what he should do, what's his best action. That's done pretty well. That's fine. And then he takes Anakin's lightsaber. For some reason, his own lightsaber isn't around, I guess. But he takes Anakin's for some reason. He walks out in the middle of the night. The Star Destroyer's up in the sky, like in orbit already, and just it seems to be away from the main spaceports and stuff. It's just in orbit over random part of Tatooine that happens to also be where Obi-Wan is, which I find a huge annoyance. I know that a lot of the shows and movies do that kind of a thing too, but I'd like some material, whether it's fan film or not, to not have something like that all the freaking time. I don't know. Anyway, he just randomly there's no real type of hint given as to why he does this. He just fucking tosses Anakin's lightsaber into the desert for no reason. He just tosses it, and then a Tusken Raider's like at him, and then he's like, and then he like uses the force to slingshot back around his lightsaber, haha, and then he gets clonked on the back of the head and knocked out by another Tusken Raider. And that's the end of this scene, sequence. And then you over to Baru and Owen and them, and there's stormtroopers that are for some reason out here in the farmland area go into these places, and then they're like, "Oh, hide the boy," which is dumb because they're supposed to be his parents raising them, or even if he's not parents, they're his guardians. His parents are dead, as far as anybody else would know, and the uncle and aunt are raising him, like a known thing. But they decide to have him hidden, which it's really stupid to me. That doesn't make any sense as to why they would do that, even if they're afraid that they would discover him. You're being more suspicious when you clearly have a kid and you're trying to hide the kid. And so that's what happens here. Imperial officer comes in, he's got a little squad of stormtroopers, and they ask simple questions. It's kind of dumb how there's no real reason why they're over here. It's just the Empire's just kind of randomly reaching out to the outer rim planets, I guess, and Tatooine and its farmland is totally what they are looking for in the Empire at this point. This is like only I don't know, maybe I can't tell if it was 5 years, 6 years so after Revenge of the Sith ish. The kid didn't look like he was 10 here. It looked like he was, maybe 7 or 8, 6, 7. I don't know, something like that. And they pretty much it says they're like, "Oh, we live alone." They tell them that, and then he's like, "Oh, you have this big farmland, though. How can you possibly maintain it yourself?" Even though there's clearly a bunch of droids also working there, so that's kind of dumb. And I also would think, how often do Imperial officers go to Tatooine and know anything about moisture farming? And it just seems really stupid how he question or care in general with this, like why they're even here. It's just they're here because they need to be here, and then uh, they find one of the stormtroopers finds Luke hiding in the speeder, and they're like, "Oh, what's this little boy doing here?" And there's like, they're all like stuttery, very suspicious looking, and then you hear from the distance Obi-Wan go, "You don't need to see their identification." I repeating lines from other stuff from other movies nowadays, it happens so often, it's coming off as cringe to me. And there was a lot of that in the show as well, where they like say lines, "Hello there," of course, "Oh, the line, you said the line, you said that before, but now you say again." That kind of thing it's supposed to be memes or fan service. I don't know. In general, I'm not blaming the fan film for this. This is beyond the fan films doing. This was 2 years ago, but this kind of thing by now to me, it's just I only see it as cringe now. It used to be cool. Now it's just cringe to see, honestly. So Obi-Wan strolls up to the pack and he's like, "Oh, there's my boy. I look after him. I'm his uncle." And they're like, "Oh, what happened to his parents?" And there's like a dramatic pause, as if asking that question is like, "Oh, wait, parents, a child without parents is unheard of in this galaxy. Oh my gosh." He said it's his uncle. He said he's getting too big to, catch sometimes. On it, like this, it just seems like, yeah, okay, you just answered straight up, yeah, I'm his uncle. Yeah, his parents are dead. Of course, like no shit. It's freaking like duh. I don't know. And it just the scene treats it like it's a dramatic question, intention or whatever. Like, "Oh, what's he gonna say?" And these are not in the right situations for drama. It just doesn't. To me, it's just weak. It seems weak. And then he answers after the dramatic pause, and he's like, "Oh yes, they're dead." And then I forget specifically what's said. I think the Imperial officer asks where he comes from. He avoids the question, saying, "Oh, we're just passing through." He's like, "You're good at avoiding the questions. Search him." And then they just find his lightsaber right there. Well, Anakin's lightsaber right there. What is this? And he's like, "Oh, I won that at a game." And he's like, "I doubt that." And then he tries to use a mind trick on him. It doesn't seem to work. And then Owen shoots the guy, and then a little blaster fight. And, it's cool seeing Owen and Baru like fight and defend stuff. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like if the context were better, then I would give it points for that. But it just seems so. This whole scene is so stupid to me. In general, it's just like, "Oh, okay." The fact that you now killed you killed an Imperial officer, you shot at one, and you guys are attacking them now. You're literally Luke is right here. You're literally here. It's on Tatooine in general. It's so close to where things aren't supposed to have happened. Tatooine is supposed to be kind of at least for Luke's experience, supposed to not be that eventful. And he's watching this all play out right before his eyes. Now he sees Obi-Wan do some fancy Force stuff, stopping a stormtrooper going off on a speeder, and he's like just using the Force on these stormtroopers for a bit, and then tries to use his lightsaber. The guy catches it and is like, Jedi! And that doesn't really change anything as far as I can tell. They just shoot at Obi-Wan, I guess. Okay, like they're trying to do anyway. And then he uses the lightsaber. Obi-Wan gets the lightsaber back and ignites it, deflects a bit, and you know, deflecting lightsabers, cool, I guess. Flashy, but yeah, it's whatever. Again, I feel like it would mean a little bit more if the context of the scene was better. The scene is just so poorly put together. He was knocked out by the Tuskens, remember, before for no reason, and they didn't seem to take anything or do anything with them. They just knocked him out earlier for no reason, and just left him there, and then he was able to come back, and that's where he is now. And it just, it makes no sense leading up to this point and why these things are happening. And then it's basically with this type of scene with the Imperial and the stormtroopers being destroyed, it's like, or being killed by them. It's like, well, now you're fucked. Like, you've fucked with continuity very hard. But then there's one last stormtrooper left, like the commander stormtrooper, and he like doesn't mind trick on him, of course, and is like, your crew was attacked by Tusken raiders. There's no interest to be on this planet. Goodbye. And don't forget to drop your gun. Force Awakens reference. And then it's just okay. And then he like looks at Luke. Well, okay, before that, it's like just he has it just to where your memory's wiped, and that's it. Now you're good. You're gonna go tell them Tuskens attacked your men. That's why they're dead, and there's no reason to be here. Coolio, right? I don't know. I kind of feel like if a native people on a planet, especially a very primitive one in general, were to attack this, like, imperial force, the empire, and kill some of their men, I don't think they just go, oh, well, we'll just leave the planet now. We're totally cool. It's not like we like to control things. And, if somebody like attacks some of our forces, like we won't want to punish them. I don't know. It seems like they'd return with more numbers and put the Tuskens in their place or kill them. I don't know. It seems like that would be the more likely case in this scenario. But I also don't think that the Empire would even be out here in the first place anyway. So that's already dumb having them be here. You don't really know why they're here other than expanding, I guess, which is a weak reason to have them here. And then like it's annoying because you could do so much other stuff with the stories, and this just seems like a very basic idea that isn't that well executed. And then Obi-Wan is like looking at Beru and Owen and Luke, who are just all sitting there, and Beru's like, oh my gosh, thank you for saving us. And Luke's just staring at the lightsaber that he just saw right there, and it's just like, he's not supposed to know anything about any of this. I know he's young, but I don't know. When you see a bunch of people get killed in front of you, you see a dude stop a speeder with the Force and use a lightsaber to deflect blasters. I feel like you'd probably at least remember some of this, or when you see it again in the future, it would kind of click that memory of, oh shit, I've seen this before. So it's just kind of a weird placement with it. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't know why. Like, I've seen Jamie Costa do the Han Solo fan film, and that was great. He seemed like Harrison Ford entirely in that one. It was done very well, and it was pretty creative. It was very short. It was very Han-esque, and it was just okay. And didn't seem like it was trying to copy something. It was just a nice little tiny short little story with Han and Chewie a little bit. It wasn't a huge thing, and that one was done really well. Like, it seemed creative. This one seemed lazy. Like, just I don't know, and that's pretty much it. And then it ends like that. Everything's back to normal. He's gonna just chill. It just I don't know. It reminded me exactly of the Kenobi show and how bad that was. Like, I mean, Reva go there and use the Force on Luke, attack alone, and then it's just and then just leave. The Obi-Wan just lets her go, knowing where Luke is and who. I don't know if she knows who Luke is, but still, just like, dude, this is too much, too close to what it shouldn't be at all. And I don't know, man. It's even though it's a fan film, I feel like that's why I'm actually more harsh in a way, because I've been watching so many fan films, and I'm able to see a lot of heart and see a lot of writing and a lot of passion in all these fan films. And this one seemed like it was more focused on getting the shots and cinematography right, and the acting was spot on. The acting was good. I loved the Imperial officer. He was freaking. I love that character. I want to see that actor in more stuff. It was great. But just the story here, like this little section story. The fan film's 18 minutes long. A lot of fan films are like less than 10 minutes. You had a lot of time to do something interesting here, and you've done interesting stuff before. And it's just kind of disappointing. Now, all I remember 2 years ago when this was out was like all my YouTube peers seemed to pretty much like it, or just a lot of people seem to really love it. And I don't know if a lot of the same ones would like it now after seeing the Kenobi show, the ones that didn't like it anyway. I wonder what they would think if they watched it again, because to me, it just fits right in with it as if it was there, which Disney, again, might have copied some of the stuff from it. I don't know. That's what it kind of comes off as. But anyway, I'll be posting the actual reaction and our different commentary with OG Star Wars Girl on the Fandom Collective channel, probably in a month or two, either in August or September. I'll have it edited and uploaded there. We talked for like an hour doing it, discussing things on there. But until then, have a good one, guys. And let me know what you think down in the comments. Later.